3, 4. Let me take a look at what you got. I pull into the speculation station a lot. Speculation station.
Hello and welcome to the Speculation Station podcast.
Hello.
It's a podcast where we talk about objects and turn them into stories.
Turning objects into stories
Yeah,
since
that's literally-
2019.
Yeah, that real long time ago, since 2018.
If you're listening to this in the dark future,
or the dark past.
what about the year 40,000 where
In
there's
the
only
year
war?
45.
Great song.
Is it not? Right.
Ah.
Anyway, so we generally talk about objects and we have fun, right? So
we try to have fun.
Well, yes, that's down to us. Anyway, shall we dive in?
Give me an object, I'll
Before
close
the-
my eyes.
Okay, close your eyes.
Close your eyes.
Present your palms.
Both of them.
Yeah, and fingers. Yes, this is
I have
going to
the
be
standard,
especially tactile. Oh gosh.
Don't know what you did to the laptop just then.
Yeah, a little accident we had, but don't worry. Okay, are you ready?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm still ready. Nothing's happening. Is it air? Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's something bound in something. Is it a leather-bound book?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Do I need to go any further, or can I open my eyes?
Yeah, open your eyes.
It's a leather-bound book. Okay. Is there anything inside it, written or drawn? Let's find out. By the looks of it, no. Oh, wait, no. Ignore me. There are drawings of what appear to be spacecraft, celestial objects, and possibly theoretical objects that look like they could deliver evil to the galaxy. That one's like a Death Star. Okay.
Mostly unused.
It's lovely. It's got a good heft, but it's not too heavy.
Yeah.
That's the important thing about heft.
I want you to note the texture of the paper inside. It's bizarre.
It's feels like it. You know, have you ever done homemade paper before?
Of course.
Yeah, so it feels a bit like that, but more refined for sure, like recycled paper. I'm more interested in the kind of leather binding, which is kind of detailed with. Would you call it carvings? Can you carve leather? I believe you can, right?
Don't you emboss leather? I believe you heat it with like hot. You heat it with something hot, of course you do. But you press hot irons against it or something like that.
Okay.
To mold it. I might have just made that
It
up.
looks
completely.
like the actual paper is bound in with leather.
Stringlets.
Laces. Stringlets is better than laces because it's bollocks, so well done. Okay.
Anyway, so what does this leather-bound sort of empty tome with a couple of rubbish sketches of spaceships in make you think of?
It says, here is potential for creativity. Here's potential for imagination. A blank page is just a story waiting to be told.
And what about the markings on the outside? What does that make
Well,
you
they do
think?
intrigue me. They remind me of magical runes.
Okay.
Such as the ever-popular Doctor Strange from the even more ever-popular Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh yes, it's the way his shields go.
Yes, and when he portals through the ground, it does something
Yes,
similar. It's
yes.
not quite like that. It also reminds me of somewhat Hawaiian, Polynesian.
Yeah, flip onto the other side because you get a better
Symbolism.
view of the different
Symbology.
symbology.
Yeah, in this case, symbology is correct. And that reminds me more of the elves from Lord of the Rings. Ever heard of Lord of the Rings? Little indie movie they made.
No.
Okay.
Sorry, is it fantasy?
Is it a foreign movie?
Sorry, is it made by gnomes?
Of course, as we all know, fantasy and sci-fi are for children.
Yeah, only for children. So what topic does this bring to mind for you?
I was going to say storytelling, but then because we're about to tell a story, the golden rule is never, write a story about a writer.
Yeah, we don't want to tell a story about a story. That's
exactly,
a terrible
it
idea.
is pretentious as fuck. So, creativity, imagination. Imagination, that's what I want to go with.
Okay.
Because I sometimes lament my loss of imagination somewhat since a kid. I think we all get that.
Okay, so imagination's your general topic.
Yes.
I want to sort of define that a little bit because imagination for me is a bit nebulous.
Sure.
Okay, so what kind? When you talk about imagination, what is that? A fairy tale you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about imagination as a concept and as a drive within us. The drive to imagine different things. Let's say on the most basic level for ourselves, we all do this. We fantasize about what could be and what we
people
could
fantasizing.
do.
Okay.
Yeah, but also in that sense of what is imagination? It's something that allows us to think of different worlds and take us to different places. And the word not world itself is a bit nebulous, but you know what I mean. It's the ability to be in different places just with the power of your mind.
Okay, so let's do it then. Okay, the way I think we should approach this is I think we should effectively create our own world that is different from this one.
That's
And
great.
tell a story within it. Completely different. It's not set in, the far past with magic. It's not an urban fantasy or some bollocks like that.
Okay.
No paranormal romance, please.
YA romance, fantasy YA.
So not that, but unless that's what you want.
That would be-
I wouldn't want to offend you.
Well, kind of related to that, it does remind me of, I guess, a certain oeuvre of 90s Hollywood young adult / child adventure story. Like the Never-Ending Story, a book. It all starts with a book, and in this case, a kind of mostly empty book with a few pencil sketches. What did the original
and when
owner
people start
intend?
sketching things in them, they come to life.
Yes, that is a bit contrite.
It's super
but,
tropey. Okay, so yeah, that's the story we should tell.
Okay.
We should tell a story about a completely new world. So let's start setting the rules for this new world.
Okay.
Okay, so there are humans in it. Let's start with that.
It's easier, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, there are humans in it.
Something I always think about when it comes to a new world, a new creative world, right, is technological level and a kind of benchmark against our own. Are they what we would call modern? Are they medieval? That kind of thing. So, again, to stay away from fantasy, let's try not to make it medieval because that's done.
Well, I don't mind it being fantastical in some way, but yes, not medieval fantasy.
Okay.
If at all possible.
Okay.
Well, let's try and think of perhaps a place that it might be similar to, that might have similarities to this world. So, let's or do we start with the landscape? That's the traditional place. What is the landscape? So let's imagine it's on a planet for a start.
Yeah, which is good. And speaking of planets then, something that I know frustrates a lot of sci-fi fans is one planet, one people.
Yes.
One planet, one culture.
Okay, so we'll start with...
We need a planet full of
like-
different cultures and countries like we have.
So yeah, one planet. Okay. Let's say 200 plus peoples. not peoples.
Oh, peoples. Right,
Right.
gotcha.
Right. Peoples, different peoples from different
cultural
cultures.
groups, yeah.
Exactly that. So a rich, wide, vibrant world.
200, which is what we've got, at least 200.
Yeah, that's what I'm
plus.
saying.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah.
different countries and different
Lovely.
cultures and different religions and different whatchamacallits and whatnot.
Okay.
Right?
If we can find a driving force for the people or overall...
I want to find a locale in this.
Okay. Oh, it's kind of
Unless
central
we,
story.
well, is there anything different about this planet to Earth? Are the tectonic plates, are they more active, or is there more volcanic activity? Are the weather patterns any different? Start there.
Perhaps none of their water is on the surface. All of their water is in aquifers under the ground.
Underwater.
No, underground aquifers.
Yes, no, underwater aquifers would just be a lump of sea.
There's water in this water.
Fantastic.
Okay, so
underground
no surface water.
aquifers, yeah. Okay, so there's no seas. So it's basically mega seas underwater.
Yes.
Mega seas underwater.
Rich people travel below the surface to take resorts in fantastic caverns.
Well, yeah, that's definitely going to happen, right?
Yes.
But how are they going to get? It's not going to be warm. And they're going to bathe in geothermal heat. These rich people.
Exactly, yeah.
That needs to be written down somewhere.
and probably people maybe living down there next to the water.
Yeah,
That's what
okay.
we do. We live next to water, don't we? So why wouldn't they?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The civilization is going to be underground for the most part. So what's the surface like? So
That's a good question, yes.
Yeah,
Who
so
or what is on the surface?
why is there no water on the surface? Is it because it's more like somewhere it's a bit colder, like Mars or something like?
That's interesting. And so the water below ground stays warm and
So
liquid.
yeah. So they sort of rely on the geothermal heat of the planet.
Okay, I like this immediately.
This is okay. So barren, frozen surface.
Tundra.
Yeah, tundra.
A word you can't
On
use so often
surface.
in day-to-day conversation.
No, and any excuse to use the word
Yes.
tundra.
Oh, tundra. A
yes.
good woody word, as the Pythons would say.
Yeah,
Okay.
indeed. Yes. So the surface is a frozen tundra. So everyone lives underground, around sort of bubble-shaped aquifers and seas and
Yes.
underground rivers, and they carve out sort of houses within that.
But you mentioned tectonics earlier, so perhaps...
And volcanic, which is different.
Okay, so in terms of maybe a class structure and maybe an equivalence of developed nations versus developing nations. You know, developed nations have found a way of creating structures that exist with tectonics. Developing nations don't have the technology perhaps to keep themselves from sliding around, let's say, with the plates. I don't know how that works. I'm not an expert, but, this is speculation station.
But there's a sort of friction thing, I think, and I think they just generally move around on a fluid surface because of the currents underneath.
And they go underneath one another, which is known as subsistence.
Subversion?
So I think it was subsistence. I could be wrong.
No, you're not. It's not subsistence. Oh. I don't know what it is.
but it's not what you're saying. I have an answer. What was your answer?
Yeah, I said subversion, but
that's terrible.
But I think there's a couple because there's when it goes together.
Yeah.
And they're both pushing together, and they both go down or up. I can't remember. And then there's one going toward while the other goes away. Is another type of tectonic plate. There's when they're both pulling apart. So.
All right. I don't remember all the geological tectonic
Just saying,
names.
you're disappointing me.
Move on.
Right.
So
tectonic activity doesn't really matter to us.
No, it's just a story.
Yeah, but the planet is geologically active. There's a lot of volcanism going on because otherwise they wouldn't have a lot of heat. Unless it's a moon around a gas giant, and then the whole planet is being squeezed and stretched by the tidal forces for heat. I mean, but then it will be, quite hostile. But that's not necessarily a problem. Maybe we've got sort of a brutal actiony culture going on.
Well, think about it this way.
We're very sweaty.
That's an interesting story detail. Everyone's sweaty. But they can also bathe in waters.
I'm just saying underground 300.
Is that pitch meeting? Get this. Adam Sandler, underground 300. He's also a Labrador.
Right, yeah. And the people from the big cavern near the underwater sea come to the people in the small cavern next to the lots of little underground lakes.
Underground archipelagos, would you say?
Underground archipelagos.
Right?
That makes no sense whatsoever.
I know, but imagination is our key.
Imagination.
No, Bragas, imagination.
Anyway.
That's not our story.
So,
do we give the planet a name? A label would help us to...
Yeah, I think so.
Right? Put about 3 apostrophes in it and I'll be happy.
Alright, Klingon. Blark.
Blark is a little...
silly?
On the nose, yeah. Cleth.
Cleth is getting close.
What would you call it? A kind of barren place, but with life hidden. Oh, I'd call it...
Chrysor.
Cry something is interesting.
Chrysith. Chryseth.
Crysith. No, that's Crysith. Have you played Crysith?
Crysith.
Crysith is interesting.
Chrysep.
Crysep. Sure.
Chrysep. Spelt with K's or C's?
I was going to say K, R, and then it's your choice of either Y or AI in the Japanese style.
Let's do the Japanese cry and then sep with a C to annoy everybody.
That's wonderful.
And then an E.
Yeah, well, that was always going to be the next letter.
Not necessarily.
You can either go double PE or single P here. Double PE gives it a sense of class.
Chrysep.
I like how you started with capital letters and finished with lowercase. That's wonderful.
And we'll put a wiggle on sort of both of the a few vowels.
The podcast listeners will really appreciate this.
Okay, so yeah, it's got
what you're writing.
Wonderful. Okay,
Chrysep.
Chrysep. The land of Chrysep. Okay, so in the land of Chrysep.
We still haven't decided on their technological level, which is, I guess it's got to be pretty far advanced enough for them to have been living underground all this time.
But they have to have been to live on this planet at all.
Sure.
Did they evolve on this planet, or did they come here in a ship, hundreds of years ago?
No, I hate the ancients idea.
No, not the ancients, just like some
anything
people
like that.
People crash landed like 200 years ago and survived.
200 years ago, so it's quite recent.
Yeah.
That's more interesting.
Yeah, and they're just surviving. Or is it their people have lived on this planet since the year dot, and there's thousands of cultures?
I prefer that because it's like we said, it's 200 plus people.
Humans effectively evolved here. It's an alternate Earth.
Yes.
What if Earth was like this?
We have to...
But it was called Chrysep.
Have you been to Chrysep? Too stupid.
Well, it's done now. We can't undo it.
Yes. Someone out there's going, Chrysep. I'd like to go to Chrysep.
So the land of Chrysep, well, the world of Chrysep. Okay.
I wanted to add that people who live underground who probably don't ever see the sun, probably quite thin and pale.
Okay, pale people.
Pale people.
So, pale people.
Where's their food source? Obviously, you can grow food on the ground. That's not too much of an issue. Things like...
What about...
fungi and mosses.
Woo!
Yeah. Hey, if you got the Gordon Ramsay of Chrysep, I'm sure he could steam up a good fungi stew.
Fish, I imagine, with all the
Hey, that's good. Yes. Also crustaceans. Lots and
Well,
lots of
yeah,
crustaceans.
I was, yeah, and
Oh, you were
shellfish.
taking that as red, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Of course, there are crustaceans on Chrysep.
Obviously. What about cattle? You know, and other. You
I
know.
like a quadruped mammal equivalent for sure.
Okay, so we'll call it. Okay, the.
Mluck.
I was just gonna say the tunnel cow or something, but you went.
Cow.
You went with the
That could be
mluck.
the colloquial name. Like,
Mluck, the tunnel cow.
I like that. Which in
Okay.
some cultures is
Okay,
considered holy.
I immediately want a character to be a mluck farmer.
Mluck farmer, yes. Tunnel cow farmer.
Yeah.
So his farm stretches down a long tunnel, right?
Yeah. So main character is
Okay, tunnel cow farmer.
a character tunnel cow farmer.
There's got to be more to life than tunnel cow farming. no?
Name
Malik Tackwith.
Malak. Okay, I just want him to have a little bit of a or something in the middle,
Okay,
the Malak Tackwith.
Mutskuk.
Mutskuk.
Yeah,
Mutskuk.
nice.
Tapwith.
There you go.
Malak Mutguk Tapwith.
We are never going to remember that. Like 20 minutes. from
Malak
now.
will do.
Malak will do. Yes.
Yeah, or Farmer Tapwith.
Yeah, sure, but Malak is better. Sounds
So,
protagonist.
Mr. Malak, the farmer,
Yes.
the tunnel cow
Tunnel
farmer.
cow farmer. Yes.
Yeah.
What does he want out of life? To see the great seas beyond. Let's
Why?
say. Well, does he want to see the surface?
Yeah, maybe. I thought that seems like the obvious story to me.
Yeah, and there actually doesn't.
Maybe he's never been to the surface.
And there's actually people living up there, contrary to popular belief. Maybe a different society
Don't spoil
altogether.
the story, man. It's the end.
No.
I don't think we should. I don't think we should find out what we go there until
Okay.
Malak
Gets up there.
Tapwith gets up there with his tunnel cows or not. So,
I
does he
think
have a
he-
favourite tunnel cow?
Oh, of course he does. It's Umbank.
God, your names. Umbank.
Umbank.
Favourite cow? No, think about his family.
Okay. So maybe there's the family structure of Chrysepians
The Chrysepians.
is not like our own.
Okay.
Perhaps monoparenting. You have one parent. I'm not saying it's asexual reproduction, but you're raised by a single parent as standard. And maybe
So who gets the child?
well, that depends on how their sexual kind of reproduction works.
I was presuming they were human.
Yeah, they can be humanoid without having the same reproductive system as we do, or the same.
You're saying they sort
childbearing.
of spawn out clones of themselves?
Could do, yeah.
Or they all splurge their genetic material into a big sort of central egg and
Yeah, and you can make a withdrawal and
yeah, you would draw a baby.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what women can do. What do men do then?
Unless there's just one sex.
Oh. Okay, one sex, but it's got to have some kind of defining different characteristics, like a gender or something, but not. Right? So.
Because otherwise,
Otherwise, there's no difference, yeah.
Or do they need a difference? Or unless there's 12 genders.
That's imaginative.
Yeah.
There's 12 genders.
But if there's just one.
One, yeah. So
That's
how do they
weird.
reproduce? They just
I
asexually?
mean, yeah, or do they rub up against other unisex people?
Well, if it's unisex, you would have.
It should, but it doesn't have
You
to
would
be
have
asexual.
sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction generally requires.
Unless they have both kinds, they're all hermaphrodites, effectively.
Okay. Reproduce with themselves?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't expect us to go here. Imagination was your topic. Okay.
Our subconscious said hermaphrodite. Okay, so they're all ostensibly
Intersex,
okay.
Yeah, effectively, yeah.
And they raise children by themselves,
Yes.
but maybe there's something else going on in terms of how a child is reared.
Yeah, so the children in this world, is it the number of children? Do they tend to have lots or few? That's a good starting place.
Good question. One parent, lots of children, one parent, one child?
Or, yeah, unless it's just very taboo to have extra children for some reason because there's not a lot of resources.
Sure.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So they only, it's like the China one child policy or something. Except maybe it's something like the Chrysep 1.5 child policy where, you're only allowed up to 1.5 children. You can buy half a child.
Oh, how does that work?
You pay somebody money to buy half a child off them.
I don't understand
They're
what half a
right.
child is.
So you can have 2 children. So
'cause
each
you've
person
got-
has a
you've got
right
half.
to 1.5 children. And so the people who only want one child
can sell the half.
Sell the half to other people to make money, and the people who want that extra half can have extra children.
Oh, I like that. That'll shape the culture somewhat.
Yeah, right.
But again, we can't have that as a homogenous uber culture.
No.
This
This is our locality. We need to think of the locality, which Palapesh done.
Palapesh, yes.
Palapesh,
which part of the planet is that in or under?
Let's say equatorial, so it's fucking... in fact, that's not what matters.
Exactly, it's proximity to the core.
So yeah, close...
Plus water.
Close to the core. So this is actually... and closer to the core is generally where the wealthier people and the bigger cultures are. So he's part of one of the... This is one of the larger civilizations on the planet, I would say. One of the more successful empires, maybe.
I'd like to say, because he's a farmer, maybe farming is a big deal for them.
The Palapesh Empire, that's called.
Like that. Maybe so they're lower down, or they're closer to the core, let's say, and it's hot enough that water kind of vaporizes, so it's very humid, but it's really good for,
Oh, so it's like
crops.
a constant sauna.
Exactly, yeah. So water comes down from aquifers on like the level above, drips down and then vaporizes.
Oh yeah, and they're constantly having Roman baths and shit like that.
Yes, and maybe they have like water evaporators.
Well,
that
maybe
collect
because
the
there's only
water.
one sex as well. There's very low sexual taboo. Because
sex is by yourself with yourself.
Well, no, it's not. You don't have sex with yourself. You have sex with somebody else.
You're hermaphrodite.
Yeah, you're
I thought it was
Yeah, but
your
that means
implication.
you can perform either role.
Okay.
Right? Did you see my point?
Maybe different cultures do different things.
Or maybe it's like there's a fish. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it. But there's
What,
a particular
fish?
there's a
I've heard of fish.
and chips. Okay.
Fish and chop.
But there is a fish.
Is that a Chrysepian dish?
that can switch to male.
That's
or
right.
female,
That's right. Yeah.
So
yeah.
maybe they go through phases. And actually, this is kind of Left Hand of Darkness-ish. Actually, now I think about it, but they go through a phase when they go in for the sexual, when they go into a sort of heat, effectively.
Yes.
They're sort of assigned a gender automatically. It just sort of happens. They express a gender at that point. So we could do it like that, or we could do it. They can just do whatever they want whenever they want.
I think they just do whatever they want. Let's make it easier on ourselves for a podcast story.
Yeah, great. So. But it's all very, nobody really cares because there's very little like nakedness taboos. So I'm sure they're all buff and naked and what have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think we need a kind of a desire for Malak, something that stands in her way, and then some
what does
plot she's launched into.
The thing is, do we start it with a cataclysmic event that changes his life, or do we give dangle an opportunity in front of him? Or do we have him approaching a goal and something get in the way?
I like the dangle.
Okay, so he's a tunnel cow farmer
from close to the core.
Close to the core.
Lots of other civilizations are way above them.
And he wants to get... So why would he want to go to the surface, since that's the... Because maybe it's foreign and far away, but yeah.
I think this means something stronger than that, but what I can see now is that
I do think,
it's a wonderful adventure that between... Priapesh, what was it called?
The Palapesh Empire.
Palapesh Empire and the surface. There's a whole bunch of countries really on the different
exactly.
strata. So there's a great adventure he goes on, but why? What's forcing
Or
this?
maybe
There's a classic.
there's somebody
he's
like a loved
chasing
one has
someone.
exactly.
Yes, or someone's chasing him.
I like that he's chasing someone.
Or he's chasing after something. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's trying to. Somebody's kidnapped. A family member is an obvious choice, like his son, daughter.
Yes. Or something precious, like a holy book. Now that we've got our book as our object, that's a bit.
Or somebody but to do with a holy...
A person and an object.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that's a nice one. So, to slightly play on that, holy object trope, like in Temple of Doom, for example, it's one of, someone important from the village or well known from the village or one of their villages, has gone missing with the book. Like, why would they take it?
But I think that I wanted to get a sort of closer relationship with this person. What's
He's his sister then? Sister brother?
Uh,
One of his brood fellows.
Brood fellows, okay?
Yes.
Brood fellows will do.
Okay.
One of his brood fellows.
That's very generous of you.
So, his brood fellow,
which we shall call Sasky.
Sasky.
And that would be, I guess, the full, Muktuk.
Yeah, well, we don't care about that.
Okay, just Sasky.
Sasky, brood
fellow.
Sasky
Broodfellow, why have you done this? Make it as dry as possible.
So Sasky Broodfellow has run to the surface, but maybe.
So we don't know if she's gone to the surface as much as.
This person's gone to the surface. Maybe this person was some kind of religious priest, right? Important in the religion,
Yeah.
but has gone missing. Maybe it's sort of a tower of the local community. So something.
What about
like,
the opposite, where Sasuke's known as a bit of a rebel, a bit of a counterculture, anti-establishment, anti-authority person? So the community immediately leaps to the idea that Sasuke has stolen
an artifact.
Yeah.
Which is maybe a holy book or maybe because they're underground, it could be geodes or something they worship.
Geodes, yes.
You know, they something like that's considered sacred.
Okay. Or a book of tectonic prophecies.
Or it's totally opposite, and it's something very rare in their world, like a bag of air. No.
That's you're telling Waterworld now, where he has like a bag of soil, right?
I had to stop halfway through that because it was so bad. But something what I'm thinking of is something surfacey that they don't have a lot of. Obviously, we can't bring package sunlight, but maybe it's something like that.
Okay. Yes.
So it's an artifact anyway.
It's something that gives off light.
Okay. Oh, like fireflies or some kind of bioluminescent
rock, bug, organism, organic material.
I like bioluminescent, super rare.
Geode.
Rare living geode.
A living geode is interesting, yeah.
Okay. Right.
Now we're on it.
With holy inscriptions.
So I guess the first thing to do for this classic tale is for Malak to kind of say, okay, where's Sasuke gone? Get the first bit of information that starts that trail.
They come in, so why are they bringing some tunnel farmer? I know it's a relative, but surely he's going to have to. Maybe they're questioning, and he's exiled himself. So Malak is exiled or imprisoned or something.
Perhaps because of Sasuke's position in the community in terms of being a pariah, the community immediately believes the worst. Sasuke's stolen this, and they are sending their own goon squad after Sasuke.
Oh, with tiki torches.
Right. Oh, good reference, right? So Malak says, "Oh, I've got to get to Sasuke first." So rushes off to get to Sasuke, find Sasuke before they do, and of course, then you've got that following thug gang that can come in throughout the story and fuck things
Fantastic.
up.
So we've got a thug gang following. Who are the thug gang led by? What's their shtick? We need to think of the leader of the thug gang. Is it like a high priest or something like that? Or
you said that this is an empire.
Empire. But it's a religious empire, so let's go with sort of
okay,
or slightly theocratic, since we've got a religious artifact. I feel like the empire needs to be a little bit theocratic. So
the local chapter of fighting,
like battle monk or something.
Battle priest.
Battle priest.
Okay. The local chapter of
Underground 300 is happening.
Okay, write down local.
You write it down.
Okay, so I shall write down the local chapter of Battle Priests.
Okay, yes.
You're going to be seeing Battle Priests in your McDonald's Happy Meals very soon, kiddies.
Oh, yeah.
Battle Priest from Bangladesh.
Intersex. Living in steamy caves.
Searching for their living geodes.
Glowing, bioluminescent living geode.
Oh, shit, son.
So, sweet. Okay, so, and the Battle Priest, what kind of, what's their weapon of choice? The Battle Priests.
Okay, so they're theocratic, so they both believe that they have God on their side, but they obviously know that they're going to have to do something quite... we'll get to that. They have to do something quite real and physical to actually affect something. So...
How about gauntlets made of rock?
Yeah, rock gauntlets. Of course they would. Insides have like a soft moss, so it's comfortable in the hand.
That's ridiculous.
And the outside is a strong, craggy rock.
Yeah, so it's a craggy rock, but maybe sort of like bits of diamond, so it's like sharp, craggy bits, so they pick specific bits. So diamond isn't valuable for its beauty. Diamond is valuable for its brutalizing power.
For its weaponized power, yes.
Yeah,
okay, like that.
Yeah.
So they have moss padded, diamond tipped rock gauntlets. These battle priests, I like it. Yeah, but that's a serious danger.
Okay, so who's their god?
That's a good one to come.
Who
back
would have
to.
a bioluminescent, super rare living geode with holy inscriptions as their sort of representative artifact? So it's like Jesus has his Shroud of Turin or whatever.
Yes. I would say that for them, their deity, if it is a monotheistic deity, was said to have slid out between the tectonic plates themselves in the early age. And
so the core, the planet.
I like that. So early
God is the
early Pelopessians, gathered round their smouldering magma fire one day.
Yeah.
Out of it rose who? What's the name for their god?
Yeah, so there's the core, I think, which is just God, right?
Oh, the core is God, and then like Jesus, son of God,
you need the Messiah, right?
Yeah.
The Son of God, the living God, the God on earth, the demigod, the Hercules, the whatever we need. Okay.
Lava Junior, yes. We just need a simple name. Deities or
like Practo.
I just like Pract.
Pract, as in practical, was my thinking.
Yes, but with a K.
Pract. Oh no.
There you go. Nice. You turned the C into a K.
Okay, just put some umlauts on there.
You should have put the umlauts on the R for foreignness.
I'd say we do that weird little C thing at the bottom of the R.
Okay, lovely. Okay.
Pract.
Who came out of the core to deliver what message to early Peloponnesians?
Well, he brought the living Geo. Well, maybe the living Geo is something he left behind.
Oh, I love that idea.
So he died, obviously.
It's like a little core itself.
Well, he came, of course, to save humanity in some way. From
they
something.
Always do.
They always need saving from something. So what might this particular group of Chrysepians in Palapesh, what do they believe? Humans need. What's the great threat in their life?
Exactly,
I guess it's war from without. Is the obvious one, or other religions.
The higher stratas would fall upon them.
Yes, the sky will fall on their heads. But
literally in this case, because the sky is a big bunch of fucking rock.
But they
up
don't.
there.
The sky is something quite bizarre to them. So maybe even the sky is the devil, right? Since it's the opposite of.
Oh, so
the surface is like where the devil is.
So Saskia going
the further
upwards,
they go up is him walking towards hell.
Yes, and hence the reason Saskia going upwards is also a big no-no for the community.
So sky is hell.
Which is why only these trained battle priests are trusted to go up there and.
I love this.
Refute it. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happens to our Malak at the beginning of this journey, right?
I think, they've got to come to his house, right away. And I feel like he needs an ally. So maybe he's treating his favourite cow, Unbunk.
Yeah, what was it?
Umbunk.
We didn't say Umbunk, we said Umbuck. Oh, Umbank.
Umbank, yes, there we go.
Of course it was Umbank the cow. Umbank the tunnel
his
cow.
His favourite tunnel cow.
So you're saying the battle priests come to
his farm, and he has to do a runner, basically. But I feel like we need an ally for him at this point, or maybe...
Or at least some kind of wise mentor who gives him enough knowledge.
Not immediately. Somebody basically helps him out of this early situation and onto his adventure.
Okay.
So basically, the battle priests come. They're punching down his cave walls, with the giant fists.
Okay.
Yeah.
I reckon it's a retired battle priest, an ex-battle priest, who's actually been up to the next level and knows that the sky is not hell at all, and that's why they left the order.
So he's like a heretic.
Let's say it's a she at this point, someone who's in their female stage.
I thought they were always the same, but someone feminine identified,
right?
Feminine identified.
Yeah, feminine identifying at the moment.
Yeah, sort of like heretic.
Yes, the heretic.
What would you call it? Speaker, soothsayer, that kind of thing.
Okay, doomsayer.
Doomsayer, heretic doomsayer. Everyone, that's what they call her anyway. Heretic doomsayer. Zavlis.
I like Zavlis.
Zavlis.
It just needs to be...
Krark.
Zavlis Krark, like it. Yeah. We're using a lot of K's in this...
Oh, I've got to put some umlauts in. One moment.
Put some things underneath the consonants.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, now we're talking.
And a few. No, we're not doing apostrophes. We swore against apostrophes.
Never apostrophes.
Just ridiculous use of umlauts and whatnot, and accents.
Okay, so the heretic Zavlis Krag. Does this person suddenly turn up and
You've got to have a slightly better excuse than that. So maybe this person arrives just before, almost anticipating the situation. And our protagonist Malik doesn't know who this person is, and it seems like and maybe he often meets people out in the tunnels when farming tunnel cows. As you do.
Like that kind of bringing some kind of
precisely
wisdom.
Yeah, and he just meets this person who looks hungry and says, "Oh, I'll come out. We'll have some tunnel cow
Tunnel beef.
tunnel beef and triple steaks or skewers.
Triple steaks, I like, yes.
triple skewers on steaks on skewers. Triple steaks, they come on a skewer.
Like how much the triple steaks come on a skewer. These steaks, right? They're on a skewer. They're triple steaks on the skewer, right? Oh, we got it.
I just want to emphasise that there are three. But it's not just a single steak, right? There are three individual. It's not like we got three steaks and then put them together. No. It's a single cut of beef.
Okay, I wasn't getting that. In the triple steak
tunnel
scenario.
beef. Sorry, not just standard running mill beef.
I'm just going to write triple beef down.
Triple beef.
And hopefully we'll forget why, and then later on it will confuse us.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, so yeah, and he fed some tunnel beef. There's a great delicacy. It's served with some kind of underground rosemary. I don't know what we call that.
Yeah, they use all kinds of weird underground fauna.
Yeah, so maybe it's aged and then and before it's cooked, they do some kind of complex rub or marinade on it first. Bury it underground.
I was going to say, maybe they like cracks in the ground where it opens up to the magma. They can just stick meat down there.
Wonderful. Anyway, so he's having this ridiculously traditional triple steak meal. So he invites this person back. Doesn't know who they are. They seem unfortunate and starving. This person, maybe thin because they've been on the run themselves.
Sure. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and maybe this person knows, and Zavlis reveals that they know the missing brother.
Yes.
Okay,
Sasky.
knows Sasky, and is worried.
Oh, that's nice. That's kind of portentous.
Worried. Okay, and then the event happens. Brother goes missing. They come to the house, and then
quick, come with me.
But no, quick, we need to escape.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's different. Because of course Malik knows his own tunnels. He's a tunnel cow farmer. He knows tunnels.
He knows his tunnels like the back of his
That's his special skill, is tunnel navigation.
Love that.
And dealing with animals, obviously.
He's always looking for lost tunnel cows and down little tributaries and sub-caverns.
And that's how you gather them, that's how you hunt them, that's how you herd them. And I think it's more like sheep than it is cows. You let them roam a long way. Also,
it gives the protagonist more decisions to make. Like, okay, I will go down here. I take the action rather than just being led. They run away on so after that first confrontation, maybe another like his brood father dies.
Is murdered, yeah, brutally, but he has to escape. Death by. So who's the leader? Who's the leading bad guy?
We need a battle priest
who
leader.
Utterly brutalizes the mother figure.
Chark.
But it needs a title like Privarch.
Oh yeah, Privarch Chark. Those K's have been working overtime for us.
Privarch Chark of the Blandelskind.
Blantel, please.
Blantelskeen.
Yeah, right, Blantelskeen.
Yes. Privarch Chark of the Blantelskeen, just so you're all aware.
Right, Blantelskeen battle priest.
Baddie, yes. So how's he gonna murder the mother, just to make it, in what way?
Oh.
Obviously it's religious in significance, so
I
it's
reckon
a ritual murder.
Oh, well in that case, maybe they carry around, perhaps they carry around hot magma from the core. It's like having God's blood, and they pour it down her throat. And that's a kind of holy execution.
And that's
Muthi, I like that.
Muthi, with too many O's.
No K's. That's good.
Mother figure, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who is brutally murdered, but with boiling lava.
Yeah, and the battle priest can always claim that it's actually a very holy thing because you're putting God inside them.
Oh yeah, you're like blessing a person with the core.
Yes, have God inside you, burning your inside until you're dead. Yeah.
But now you're released to do the core's work. And
it's back to the core.
So I imagine it's kind of played by John Hurt, this Privarch Chark.
Oh, well, that was an interesting casting.
Just the voice came immediately to my. I can't do a John Hurt impression.
I don't think John Hurt's still kind of got the physique.
Or David Warner.
Because he's a big dude, actually, yeah.
Right, but someone with an interesting voice, villain voice.
Yes.
Is what we need there for this guy.
Okay. And no one does kind of seething nemesis and animosity as David Warner.
So, Privarch Chark of David Warner fame. He played
David Warner, yes.
It's important.
It's important if we make the story for real, we have to call David Warner, like, we made this part for you, Privarch Chark.
You need to buff up.
Yes.
A buff David Warner.
Chris Hemsworth, we need you to look like him in your 80s.
But with your style and performance.
Yes.
Anyway, so yes.
We need to move the story onwards. We've
So
run away from this.
The
Mother's been
murders
murdered,
happened, yeah. So on the run. So what's this first phase? So we're in the. So the story's basically started. We're past the first plot point.
Yeah.
We're in this sort of phase of learning about the new situation, testing, trying new things out.
I think what really has to happen ASAP is they go up a level.
They go up a level to the
Zavlis takes
nearby
Malak-
city, which he knows a little bit. So Malak knows this a little bit.
No, they don't know anything about there, I don't think. Because they said the sky is hell, right?
Yeah, the sky, not the level nearby. There's going to be a number of levels, right?
Right, okay.
So the nearest, because they will trade with them. Any nearby city or civilization you're going to have some knowledge of, even if it's passing and you've never been there. There will be some trade passing between them. It would be ridiculous if there wasn't.
So they get up there, and it's kind of a new world for it.
Yeah, but more familiar than what comes later is what I'm getting at.
Yes, because it needs to happen in stages where it becomes, you move into that other world.
And this is called Wanfiltheim.
Wanfiltheim, yeah. What's their deal as a culture, as a people? I'd say they're pretty, scandically easygoing.
Okay,
There's good quality of life. Good socialist kind of living.
Socialist. Okay, and maybe they live around a massive sea, so they're very fishing. Okay, live around... So it's less tunnely and less rocky, and it's more like a massive underground ocean.
Yes.
So,
quick question, how does light abound in these underground places?
Wizardry. Okay.
Well,
no. There's rocks that glow.
One thing.
There's rocks that glow as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what we call that. Geoluminescence. We'll use that term in perpetuity of anything better. But yes, there happens to be loads of sweet random geoluminescence, and the cultures obviously learn about it, use it, and spread it. Right.
Yeah, you can grow the right kind of rock.
Yeah, you can grow the rock. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. That works for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Some stalactites, maybe.
Like crystals, yeah.
Crystalline stalactites that glow.
Love it. Yes. So installing a light fixture in your home or changing a bulb is more about growing.
But once it's there, and but you can't turn it off very easily.
That's a good point. You can cover it. Maybe they cover their light at the end of the day, right? Okay. That's a really important detail.
Their technology is very interesting.
Yeah, I'm getting a picture of where they're at technologically. Yeah,
so this is very sort of seafaring culture, so maybe, of course, they have the surface of the sea and lots of underwater stuff as well.
Yeah.
But mostly surface stuff, and lots of fishing, lots of swimming going on, and maybe they have to. In this place, obviously they have to barter to enter it, maybe. Is it quite closed or is it quite an open place?
I say it's open. Yeah,
so they let people in. So maybe all they have to do is cross the sea, right? And so they have to meet somebody else there who's good at navigating the water and add to our adventuring party.
Okay.
Right?
Do we have anyone who's not strictly humanoid who might be in this place, like a water sentient life form?
I mean, like some kind of...
like a waterborne life form that evolved to the same level of sentience and understanding.
Okay, so yeah.
Because if you've got an underground world that's full of these aquifers and underground seas, then it stands to reason that there's some possibility of water life.
Yeah. So unless it's just the people there have evolved in a slightly different way, because they're more likely to have slightly different sort of body.
Okay, I like that.
Body structure, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but still identifiably human.
Human.
It's in quotations.
Yeah, as close as we'll get. So maybe they're built differently. Maybe they're more aquiline. Maybe they shave their heads and beards, right? So because to be smoother in the water.
They're hairless. Yes, I like that.
Completely hairless, and maybe they have a ritual of shaving. Perfectly.
I love that.
So this person can have like so maybe this. Yeah, they sort of. Yeah. So who is this? Who is this person they meet who carries them across the ocean to the next stage of the journey?
Okay. So this place they want to go to is Wenfelfheim, right?
No, this is the place they're already in.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the area they're in, the culture they're in. They need to cross this nation.
I thought they were in Palapash.
That's the where he comes from.
So okay, I've got really confused about where we're up to then.
Yeah. So and now he's left his homeland of the Palapesh Empire,
yes,
and has gone into this nearby civilization of Yanfeltheim, right? And it's all socialists, and they live around a massive ocean, right? And he's to cross the ocean to go on to the next set of tunnels to the next, kingdom or realm.
Yeah, so I was asking about this place because I want to know like what the kind of people are and what they might be called.
Yeah. So Absolutely. So, yeah. So Yanfeltheim is where we are.
Yeah, someone called Wethel.
Wethel.
Wethel,
Yeah.
who's a kind of ferryman
Ferryman.
/ retired, sea captain.
Retired wrestler.
Retired wrestler. I mean, why not? Wethel the wrestler.
Yeah, it's sea wrestling,
Yeah, I like that in the shallows.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Grecian style, right?
Yes, and you can hold your opponent underwater so they lose their breath for a while and they have
Of
to get
course,
back up.
as we go out, it's getting colder. Yeah, it's something we've got to think about.
That's a
as
good
well.
point. Yeah, he has to wrap up and he's not used to it. Okay.
Obviously, he is probably comparatively okay. So as they're crossing the ocean with Wethel the ferryman and retired wrestler, so sea wrestler,
Sea wrestler, shallows wrestler.
shallows wrestler, yes.
Deep sea wrestling is a different sport.
So what happens across? What's the conflict as they're crossing the ocean? I assume it's a sea monster conflict. This is very.
I was going to say it comes back. Well, that's adventure-y. That's a good point. Or maybe they're boarded by pirates, right?
Ooh.
Lots of water, lots of pirates.
Boarded by pirates and then attacked by a sea monster.
I like your anti-upping.
Right.
Okay.
And that'll
Maybe
take
the sea monster interrupts the kind of pirate attack, and then it's another problem they got to deal with. Right?
Yeah, I love this immediately. So they just get attacked. So how do they fend off the pirates? And using the skills of the protagonist and his team.
Oh, good question. Yeah, what kind of skills does a tunnel cow farmer
And
have?
also, the heretic Doomsayer has to, probably be just talking about, we must get to the surface to find that's where they've gone, the surface, and it's not that bad.
There has to be some almost physical advantage that Malak has by being down near the core, living in those tunnels, being
Higher
a tunnel
pressure.
farmer.
So you might be shorter,
Stockier.
maybe like mega buff.
Yeah, or maybe he doesn't look buff, but compared to the people who live further up without that pressure, he's got
Or
like people in zero gravity.
maybe it's because of the extreme heat down there as well. They develop sort of thick, leathery
really
skin.
thick skin.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, so they're like punching him; it doesn't make any effect.
and some of their stab, even stabbing him.
Oh, it's great. Their weapons have no
But
effect.
of course you can stab. It's not got bulletproof skin.
Yeah, but you
Luke
can kind of
Cage,
deflect.
But you could press it through, and it just doesn't hurt as much. Basically,
Yeah, I like
you take
that.
pain. So his power is taking pain.
Taking pain and being more resilient than the average person to pain and impact and
Right.
scratch, scar, and flame.
So I think they just get busy on these people. Then these pirates. How do they get busy? Does he have a tunnel cow with him?
No. How would underground sea pirates act?
Well, pretty much the same. I'm guessing.
Wait, how do people travel around? There can't be any wind, can there?
So it's rowing.
Ah, okay.
So lots of buff people.
Sure, yeah. Sinewy at least in the rowing case, okay. So the pirates row up at speed.
but they can't escape any faster. They're still rowing as well.
True.
They've got Wethel the ferryman is rowing for them.
I like that. Yeah, okay, with his big wrestling muscles.
Yeah.
Wethel's going to fight, obviously, in the fight
Oh
scene.
yeah, it's only probably the heretic Doomsayer. Maybe the heretic Doomsayer does fight, but in a non-punchy way.
The Doomsayer's got to die quite soon, really. You got to lose that ally.
Yeah. I'd say around the midpoint, or we save it for the ordeal just before the end.
Yes,
right.
the all is lost moment.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
This guy knows stories.
The all is lost, lol.
Okay, so pirates attack. What happens? But as much as he's thick-skinned, Malak, he's probably not a fighter. He's not used to fighting,
he's just a strong, hardy sword. So he can take pain.
Oh, so he's
and
not
he's very
dishing it out.
good at climbing, good at endurance, anything endurance related, because he goes on his long, treks through the tunnels. So
Maybe. So with those two things, thick skin and pain threshold higher, and kind of endurance, stamina kind of thing. So the ferryman Wethel can't keep rowing the boat. He's got to deal with some pirates, right? So Malak sits there rowing while people come up, hit him, maybe slash at him, but his skin can take it and he can kind of fend them off.
he doesn't have to row, but I think he should.
Well, somebody has to keep them moving forward.
So while
right?
yes, of course, while Wethel wrestles them away
Yes.
with his sea wrestling abilities.
Yes, exactly that. So he sits there and people keep slashing at him, stabbing him.
Maybe
and he's
the
fine.
heretics got some kind of I don't know. What kind of ranged weapon would they have?
Something that fires rocks, right?
Slingshot, something like that.
Slingshot.
Nice
Really
and
nice, simple weapon.
Maybe
yeah.
they slings diamonds and other sort of like
That's
spiny
nice.
things. Yeah.
We'll maybe have a pouch of different stones of different hardness and brittleness.
Yes, for different
So he's
situations.
Like,
yeah.
So like maybe the biggest head prize, like, right, get one of my actual fucking diamonds. You're worth a diamond in the face.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
I
it
love
just
that.
rips through people's heads. So this is action, right? I want
Yeah.
this to be an action story. I feel
Action adventure.
Yeah, action
right?
adventure. Yeah.
So just as they think they're getting the handle on these pirates, sea monster comes.
So the sea monster comes and I guess destroys their ship, right? Of course, they can't really fight a sea monster. They sort of have to chop off one of its tendrils or something, and then effectively swim to the shore on the other side. Like, and this, and maybe this is where the heretic, maybe the heretic is struggling. Maybe this is in fact a weakness of Malik. Malik really struggles with swimming, right? And the other two have to help the heretic, and because heretic's travelled before.
Zavlis, yes.
Zavlis has travelled through here before, and Wethel is obviously a native to this
Yes.
area, so those two help. So we have a weakness for Malik.
I
Which
like
is,
that, and there's a lot of water.
So throughout the whole story, there's going to be lots of water,
Yeah.
so it's going to be a weakness. So we discover he's really bad.
I like the idea that Wethel joins the squad.
No,
right?
no, that's 100%.
Yeah, the sea monster destroys the boat. Says, "Oh well, my ferry business is gone."
I think we need like one or two, potentially one or two
Oh,
more.
absolutely. But why would Wethel, other than losing his ferry, why would he go with them? What motivation?
Maybe
does he have?
the heretic doomsayer. Maybe the heretic doomsayer knew Wethel all along and connected
Yes.
them, and has essentially converted Wethel to the surface religion. The idea of we have to go to the surface.
Right.
And Wethel maybe has just lost his entire family, and that's why he agreed to do this mission in the first place. So he agreed already to leave. So it's like more like a hands in. So it's like a hired hand,
Oh, okay.
like in Journey to the Centre of the Earth when they hire hands.
Yeah.
You know, the big.
but
big
kind of
German.
a bolshy, loyal, hired hand.
Exactly that. Yeah, yeah. A loyal hired hand. Yeah.
Okay.
A loyal thug as well.
So, washed up on this shore, bit dazed and battered and bruised. What happens next? What are they trying to do now? Obviously, he wants information about Saskia, so he needs to go somewhere, talk to someone.
So I think that's the next stage. So first we've had the sort of crossing the event, so we need to go to another rich, wealthy civilization that's more temperate in climate. I'm talking, because really we've been kind of Mediterranean up to this.
Okay.
He was born in kind of tropical Mediterranean sort of.
Yeah, subtropical.
Subtropical,
maybe.
yeah. And then we've gone into more temperate. So maybe here, the next one is quite cold.
Yeah.
So maybe they travel through loads of tunnels before they get to the next civilization.
I
So it's
like
quite
that.
a
And
long
the temperature's
way.
changing, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously this is Malik using his skills, but obviously slightly weakened by the fact it's a bit cold. But it's him showing off his tunnel cow farmer experience, guiding the others through and digging through these complex weaving tunnels to find the next civilization. Right?
Lovely.
Yeah,
Love
and then
that.
probably on the run from various bandits.
And the battle priest.
I'm just going to say the battle priest, just before they reach this place, they should get word that the battle priest should attack again.
Yes. I think what should happen is for plot pace and ease, they get to this new place, think everything's fine, okay, we've got a new place. And I think who they need to talk to is an organised criminal boss, because, and this is probably based on the heretic's knowledge, you know, someone who's been around these parts before, who could give passage to Saskia coming through with this important geode. You can't go the normal channel, so probably criminals gave her that passage. So he goes talk to the big criminal in town, goes there, starts to have this conversation, gets some information, blam, battle priest.
Yeah, battle priests come in, and they've hired some local muscle as well.
I like that, because you can
Right.
fuck the local muscle up.
Yeah, so there's loads. So what are the local muscles' power? So it's a colder area. I imagine it's less sea. Maybe they use aquifers, and it's kind of rocky,
Yeah.
and small caves and tunnels, kind of more like his home in
Yes.
some ways, but obviously much colder. So what's there? I guess they wear kind of lots of furs and
Yes.
stuff like that. They probably would. So what's their what would their heavies be like? What kind of weapons would they use?
I'm seeing maybe long wooden staves or staves, maybe evolve
From the underground trees.
Well, okay.
Just put it out there.
Well, maybe.
Or the roots of trees going.
Because there are no trees above. But
that's a good point.
Old roots. Well.
No.
Okay, so something.
There's some kind of underground wood done.
Yes, sure.
Basically, instead of a tree, it's just a complex root system that feeds off rock or some shit.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
And these things evolved from a practical standpoint in the past where they would shore up weak tunnels with these long poles, and they kind of learned to fight with them as well,
so it's a stave weapon. Yeah.
Yes, they're incredibly long.
Oh, and these people don't fight in a brutal way. It's much more calculated.
That's it.
And accurate.
And they like to work together with multiple kind of poles at once.
It's kind of like hoplites, but with scarves. Very regimented.
If you think about it, like you don't even have to attack the person themselves necessarily as much as all coordinate where you put in the poles, and you kind of trap the person almost, or kind of corner them, push them where you want to go.
So where is this badass action scene that's happening? What's the locale?
In the kind of lavish mansion of this mob boss. They've gone to get
so a lavish
from.
but you got to remember it's cave mansion as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes. It's built in. It's actually in a tunnel where it wasn't a tunnel. It was just bare rock, and they've made a tunnel up to the face of the tunnel, where they then carved this mansion out of it from top to bottom.
But maybe it's sort of like it's a very different kind of rock because it's a palace, right? So it's a very special kind of rock.
Yes.
So it's like chalk or marble.
Maybe with glittering minerals.
Yeah,
in
so
it,
it's very
glitters.
bright and white, and
Love that. Yes.
sort of like very shocking and
maybe in the middle of it, there's like a hot spring coming up, right? And he swims in it, and they maybe have a meeting there, like, come join me in my tub.
And there's loads of guys with and then the battle priest and the bribed stavers.
Local muscle, bribed stavers, love it, yeah.
They come in and they're all tussling and whatnotery.
Yeah, and here's a chance for Malak, the protagonist, to get a bit more active in the fight with his really thick skin, especially maybe around his forearms.
Okay.
Maybe Wethel and Zavlis are kind of saying, you gotta help us, and they're getting more and more trapped by these poles. He's like, and he kind of brings his forearm smashing down on the wood and smashes it.
To add to that, because it's all tunnel related, and they're sort of using these staffs to block tunnels and push people into corners and stuff like that. Of these beautiful white tunnels. He's like, because he's a tunnel expert, he's clambering around.
Yes.
Everything. Wrestling and maybe using his ridiculous sort of meatiness to snap.
If you've ever been, trapped between a mating tunnel cow and a crevice, then you can get out of anything, right?
He wheedles and maybe oils himself up for various circumstances.
And then just starts, bringing his hands down on these staves and just breaking them apart.
Yeah, he could even just throw his whole body at people.
I love that. Yeah.
Just slapping his skin against
his thick skin. Yeah,
his
wicked.
whole chest against people. So there's this brutal, kind of corridor, corridor/tunnel sort of action scene in and around this fountain at the core, with people popping in and out of different places. And just a complex action scene where they're just getting chased and they realise they can't stay here. What information do they get, though?
They would have got maybe enough to go on from the mob boss before the attack happened. So
somebody's seen the geode and Sasuke.
Someone knows how Sasuke moved on to the next level, the next city, right?
Yeah, but how do they know it's Sasuke? They know because they saw the geode.
They saw the geode, yeah.
Maybe they even appraised the geode and sort of what is this? What does it look like to you? Obviously we know what it is. Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
So he showed the geode and said, "I need to get this, to the surface." And maybe that's why Sasuke's going to the surface, is because he's been brought into the heretic doomsayer Zavlis's surface-based religion, and he wants to bring this holy object to the surface. And it's as simple
where
as
it belongs. Yeah,
where he believes it belongs.
Something like that, because they could be wrong as well.
So the battle priests.
The battle priests scatter when they see that the local muscle is being overrun, and they don't want to get overrun themselves, so they scurry off.
I don't know, that's not badass enough, in my opinion.
Okay, that's just a good point.
So I feel like basically they've just got to kill all the local muscle and then just torture information out of them about where this Sasuke has gone, and they get more information so they can get ahead.
I like that. Yes. Yes, it's worth staying behind to get the information that the good guys didn't get.
So let's...
I think we needed to have picked someone up there. Maybe the mob boss goes with them.
Who's a staver? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe.
We need to add this mob boss.
Maybe his right hand man betrays him, to the battle priests, which is why he's like, okay, I got to go. Everything's been lost.
So yes, mob boss. Okay, and we'll call him Walvari.
I like Walvari.
Okay. Kalshush.
I love it.
Kalshush.
No, that's it. Yeah, Walvari Kalshush.
That's a bizarre name, but
What does he bring to the party, or
he's a staver for a start.
Of course, yeah.
And that local, he handles the cold. He knows how to
Good connections in
the local area, of course.
Yeah. He can get them passage to the next place.
That's it. In fact, because he does a smuggling, maybe he smuggles drugs of some kind.
Yes, I can get us
to the higher levels where it's even colder. Which
Yeah.
you've got to remember, it's just getting colder as you go up.
That's true.
So I think the next stage we get to should be the where they face the battle priest properly for the first time, and it all goes terribly wrong.
I thought they just faced a battle priest.
No, that was just a minor encounter. That was just a
scuffle.
A scuffle. No, we need he faces down with Privarch Chark, played by David Warner.
That's the only one we've cast. Yes.
Buff David Warner.
Yeah, with his rock gauntlets.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when we need the true face down to happen in the next place. So the mob boss gets them passage. So what is this next place where it's utterly freezing cold? It's the coldest possible place. It's like ice everywhere. So
it's got to be really depressing for Malak. It's got to be getting towards that low point, right?
Yeah.
So
maybe people there have developed a downy fur.
Yeah.
Furry people.
I like that. Yes, just like he developed a thick skin to resist the heat.
Furry people.
Yeah, furry people who he doesn't feel any connection to. He's so far away from home.
They seem alien. Yeah.
He might as well be aliens.
But it's maybe again. It's so. What is it? Bleak there, or is it?
I think
is it bleak up north.
I think it's only bleak in kind of surface details. Forgive the pun. I think it's more
because it's wintry. Obviously,
it's wintry, but let's
there's
say
no snow.
There are kind of high, arrogant, creative people. They make high art, and they look down on
and they
artless
wear
people.
ridiculously big clothes.
That's it. Yes, fashion is very important. Art is very important. Pretension is very important to them as well. So people lacking art, culture, and edifice.
So maybe
against them, yeah.
So maybe it's where the caves are really open as well here near the surface. They're really big, really open, quite airy, and you almost get like breezes coming down from the surface as well because maybe even it's
smells of the surface.
Maybe the surface is open.
And you get some light.
The light comes
natural light.
Natural light.
Before.
Yeah. So there's shafts of light coming down from almost maybe like 500 meters above or something like that.
Yeah, even more if you want.
Maybe even a
kilometer above. Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea is you've got to, and there's like stairs. Complicated stair networks that take you up.
I love that. And maybe buildings that reach the top.
But maybe he has to sort of buy passage by working their way through this complex sort of hierarchical civilization to get up. Yeah, what are we calling this civilization?
The kind of I'm seeing them as kind of because they're kind of furry feather. I'm seeing them as quite kind of hawkish, arrogant, arty people.
So kind of like Inca, if the Inca lived in a cold circumstance.
Yeah, and kind of had a bit of the upper class British mid-Atlantic about them.
Yeah, okay. So a bit of all those things, guys, and you've got this culture.
Well, it kind of helps to inform the sounds.
Yeah, I don't think they wear beards.
No, we're trying to get the name for them.
Yeah.
We've got just trying to avoid K's in our subconscious, I think.
Ewal,
yeah, because that sounds all we're birds.
What?
Wait a minute, I'd say you said Ewal, didn't you say?
Yeah.
Well, try IW. Yeah, that's the third time you've scratched it out.
Ewal.
Yeah, just nice and simple. Ewal Cooley.
Cooley.
He's putting all his little bits below the letters. Oh no, you wrote
Uful.
Iwakuli Uful. That sounds like the full name of their people.
Yeah.
Arrogant enough to have all those extra words.
That's what I'm feeling. Yeah, so very cold. Yeah, and they're all quite aloof, and they don't like. They're probably quite racist against Malak in particular.
Yeah, and let's say they're quite complicated.
They're furry as well.
They're complex people because they present this aloof, arrogant, even as you say, even racist kind of attitude, but
to the non-head,
their art is so emotive and expressive, so they really don't use any
So
emotion.
kind of,
in their day-to-day
I'm seeing
lives.
erotic, hairy art spread across all
Yes,
the
and
walls.
it's just
now.
in total contrast to their outward behaviour, which is
and
incredibly.
maybe it's the opposite as well. Culturally, to his, not strictly religious, quite secular in
Yeah.
a way, kind of open and debauched, sort of like. Kind of like Europe at the height of the Renaissance, that kind of
I
sort
like
of
that mix
educated.
of aristocracy with art.
Yeah,
right?
exactly, and sort of decadence, and of
Okay.
course poverty as well,
As you got to have everywhere. Yeah, yeah.
and a very hierarchical
How
society.
do they get that passage higher and higher?
So maybe you have to go to like a chains of different nobles and levels, so you just have to start at the lower gentry, and you sort of go, oh well,
You
only
do
if
like-
you speak to the
Are you doing like quests for people, essentially? Really?
yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Or not even quest necessarily. You have to barter your
I
way
reckon-
or sneak.
Well, I reckon that their new companion, Walvari.
Kalush, the mob boss.
No, Kalshush.
Kalshush.
The mob boss has. It just has one connection up here. It's very, very kind of tenuous, but like it's someone who he can go to possibly, and that gets him that first step up. Okay, I'll do you this one favour, Walvari, and then we're done forever. I don't want to hear from you ever again, but I'll give you this one, and it gets him that first stage up.
But as they get to the first stage, and maybe they get passage quite easily up the first couple of stages, I'm going to say maybe by easy stuff, and then halfway up while they're bartering with some kind of very aloof noble with artwork everywhere, with artwork just pouring all over.
Oh, yeah.
An art collector, and he's saying, "Oh, you're very exotic beings, you are." And he's stroking his luxurious golden fur. You
That's
know?
it, yes.
Yeah, and he's
preening his head feathers.
yes, he conditions.
Oh, they all have. They probably spend billions on conditioning. Yeah.
Well, they might be very dirty in this tech level at least. But this person probably be quite clean compared to the. Can you imagine the dirty, hairy people?
Well, also, if you've got any kind of feathers as well, it creates all of that. What do they call it? Not dander, but something like that, where you just got this loose feathers everywhere. It's very dirty.
Yeah,
Very prone to
so there's probably loads of people sweeping around.
the lower castes.
Yeah, the
right?
lower castes who have probably dark fur, and the higher castes have light
like
fur.
that, yes.
Right. Purity.
Okay. So they meet this aristocrat.
Yeah.
Noble.
And so they're bartering. It's going okay, but a little bit fraught.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah.
maybe the battle priest comes in. The battle priest has already bought this guy.
He maybe even converted him.
Yeah, and this noble just gives Malak to the battle priest.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost at this point. So he's almost captured, and then we have to have then we can have a sort of a conversation between the two, where he's imprisoned,
Oh, yeah,
and then
like
some
that.
kind of breakout, maybe by his mysterious brother Sasuke.
Ah, yes, because they're right by the service. Either Sasuke didn't quite get there yet, or Sasuke come back down from the service, whatever it might be, to rescue him. I like that idea.
Yeah.
Then we meet this famous, infamous Sasuke at last.
I think that's the point. So that's how we get out of the situation. So what's the prison scene between Privarch Chark of the Blandelsky
and Malak
Mutgurk Tapwith
of tunnel farming.
of tunnel
stock.
farming in the Palapashin Empire.
So something important is to set the scene, like where they're very far from home. Where does Privarch Chark imprison or at least detain Malak for now?
So I'd say he's
empire?
effectively paid off and co-opted this noble's.
Oh, okay, I like
So
that.
he's using this noble sort of.
So it can be quite a
area.
lavish surrounding,
Lavish
quite a unique
surrounding.
surrounding.
Yeah, maybe in his dungeon, for want of a better word.
Yes.
Obviously, underground doesn't have the same connotation as it does, but some kind of, cube of rock which he just shoves him in or whatever.
Okay.
And-
Cube of rock, yes.
And just comes in and sort of tortures him. And so I think we have a torture scene, right?
Yes, just like David Warner did in that double episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where he tortures Picard as a Cardassian.
I was just thinking of the double episode of Hornblower with David Warner in it, but it's totally where he just
tortures
goes
people
mad.
mentally.
Yes.
And himself, yeah, fantastic.
I did a lot of double episodes. I'll put that out there.
Because if you've got David Warner, you're like, right, double the amount of screen time.
We need more David Warner
We need a
screen
David
time.
Warner
So this
season.
is the ordeal. This is where he faces him, and it all goes terribly wrong.
I think a big part of it has to be a collapse of his reality in a way.
Yeah, okay.
Privarch Chark, like the best, religious power hungry idiots, doesn't actually really believe in his religion. He does everything he does for his own sake and power. So he's able to say to Malik, you know everything you think about our world down there, the tunnels, blah blah blah. It's all bullshit. All of this stuff, maybe he even has like a mistress or a wife living up in one of these levels, right? No, that's where he is. Takes him to his house. He's got a house up here in. Let me look at the pages. What do we call this place? Iwal
Kuli Uful.
That's where it was, of course. He has a house up there, a mistress, a wife, another family.
Yeah.
And he's like, our life down there is nothing. These people have culture. There's everything going on up here.
Oh, so this is showing his corruption at this.
Showing his corruption, exactly.
Right. So yeah, and he's actually got a whole world up here, and he wants to keep it separate from the world down there, which brings him wealth and his importance and his life. So he's basically channeling money all the way from Malik's home in Palapesh up to his rich, extravagant foreign life.
Yes, and taking money away from that community. Indeed, he's been siphoning money from Malik's community.
Why does he want to return this gem? Why does he want to return this gem? To keep the lie true, effectively, down there. And of course to show that he's doing his job well and continuing to be paid and whatever. So they're in this prison cell having this sort of intense conversation, and I want to know what Malik's attitude is here. How is he dealing with this conversation? Is he quipping? He doesn't seem like a quipper to me.
He doesn't seem like a quipper because he's quite thick-skinned, so
literally.
So he's not the kind of like
maybe it just attacks him.
Yes, exactly. A seething rage builds up. Yeah,
and loses horribly. But maybe he actually in the prison maybe it's a longer thing where Private Shark has him captured in the prison for a long time, right, and keeps coming back and brings the food and has creepy conversations in David Warnery ways.
Yeah, of course, yes.
And reveals more about his evil plans, and then Malik comes up with a little plan. He's going to use every time the food comes in at this time and this guard, I'm going to use my tunnel skills because I'm in a little tunnel, right, to take this guy down when he comes in. He plans this whole thing to take this guy down. I don't know whether are the other prisoners in the same prison cell with him.
Yeah, so I was thinking, where are they at the moment?
I felt maybe they're in nearby cells, but he can shout to them, but no more.
Okay.
So they have sort of shouty conversations when the guards aren't around.
I like that.
So they can communicate, but it's bad.
Maybe for people who live underground and in a lot of tunnel spaces, the heretic and Malik can communicate in a primitive sense by sending impacts, vibrations through the walls to each other, right?
Yeah. And Malik, this is Malik's technique.
There you go.
Because he's a tunnel farmer. That's how tunnel farmers communicate.
Exactly, and there are actually like Himalayan farmers or something somewhere who whistle to communicate because the distances between them are vast in these valleys and mountains. So that's a good equivalent.
So he uses that method to communicate, and they build up a little plan of how they're going to break out. And they use some, and it all goes well, and then of course it goes terribly. And but they break out of the cells, but he gets into a brutal fight and maybe like loses a limb or something bad's got to happen, right?
Yeah.
Maybe what would these fists do?
Oh, good
what
point.
kind of, especially because I guess the fists are quite good at taking out the thick skin.
That's right.
Because it's diamond, and of course this guy has the same thick skin as him.
Maybe it leaves a kind of, want a better word, a poison. Some substance
or is it just more brutal than that? Because what they've got is good against stabbing, right?
Yeah.
Thick skin. It's not so good against blunt trauma.
Oh, okay.
So he just like literally crushes one of his limbs inside. So it's just like all the bones are broken, but the skin is still like quite solid. So it's just this horrible mush of a limb. Maybe it's, what limb should this happen to? Not his dick.
That's not a limb. It's a good question. The problem is you don't want to go too tropey because there's so many good guy wounds, especially on the shoulder and the arm. Like,
I think it's got to be worse.
Yeah.
I mean, neck would be pretty too bad, I think.
Maybe the kind of the midsection.
Oh.
Right, so you're kind of crushed in the middle and it's hard to walk, to move, to breathe, to talk, to eat.
So how's he going with his arms? Sort of brachiate around with his arms.
Or maybe he, props himself up on one of
his elbow.
Walvari's staves or something.
Oh yeah, that's interesting for the final act. Yeah. So I think he just gets almost beaten to a pulp, but Saskia arrives and basically pulls them, saves them at the last moment with some kind of awesome surface level distraction, like cracks through light from the roof. Right?
Yeah.
So it smashes the roof with some explosion or something like that.
They calculate, the people on the surface calculate where they are above the Privarch's house / prison that he has built there. And they, crack the surface until rocks fall and sunlight shines through and it kind of crushes part of the house and shines this amazing beam of light down onto the devastation, right?
So, wonderful. And that obviously sends the enemies distracted, scattering, whatever.
Yeah.
And just a reprieve in this last moment. And there's this kind of dreamy sequence where they're taken to the surface.
Yeah, exactly. Very dreamy. I like that idea.
I think it's got to be fairly trippy. And it's breathable, I would say. So let's... Yeah. Okay, it's obviously blinding light, at least for Malik. It might not be compared to... Because obviously, like Mars, it will actually be quite far away, the sun, compared to here. But it'll still be there, still be very bright, it'll still be daytime. I imagine it's kind... What colour is the sky?
A kind of greyish blue, bluish grey, let's say. Bluish grey.
Bluish greyish blue.
Yeah, so there's some colour and beauty to it, but it's muted.
Yeah.
I wonder if, for all the talk of the surface is barren and lifeless, that is true, but the people who have moved up there have built a glass dome of some kind, or a glass structure that allows sunlight to be kept in, and it's like green, and there's water on the surface there that they've irrigated, let's say, from underground.
Right, yeah, and it's so, and they've somehow got some heat, even parts of it have heated, so they sort of arrive in a sort of glass settlement that's quite heated and sort of lovely. So what happens? Because obviously they're at the surface, and this is the new religion, basically.
Well, I just thought, as a little twist, that maybe it's not new. It's actually a very old religion for them. And the geode was theirs first. And
they brought it from the bottom up.
And it actually serves a very practical purpose. It actually helps to heat and give...
Oh, and they need those geodes. So geodes are like part of their technology because it provides heat. Right? It provides heat for when they're on the surface and power their civilization.
And what... maybe Privarch Chark's ancestors did, or maybe he himself, depends how recent it was, stole that from them and used it as this whole this is the geode, it keeps us holy.
Or stopped them trading it up because of the religion.
Yes.
Right, so they stopped trading it up so he could use it for his own power or whatever.
Exactly.
Something like that. But they're restricting control of it so they couldn't get it because they need these geodes to power their civilization, because otherwise they're very flimsy civilization. But civilization nonetheless.
Well, they power their community.
And they're happy to pay with surface stuff.
Yeah, but that one was theirs, yeah.
Yeah, so this glowing geode is actually... And so maybe they get up there and he's asked to give up the geode. Rather than, give up the geode. So, because obviously Sasuke's with him with the geode. They're asked, we have to give up. Or maybe Sasuke's already given it away and he's saying, I need to give this geode back so they stop killing me.
Yeah.
Right? And then what's for the final conflict when they're on the surface? How does the battle monk, Privarch Chark of the Blantelskeen and his heavies, how do they attack? It's got to be something overwrought.
Good question.
Maybe lava related.
Yes.
Right. So
because they keep some to execute people with and punish with. So maybe they've brought a whole bunch up with them.
Or, even like to keep his secret, he opens it. We were talking about tectonic plates or something.
Oh. Yes. So maybe they're doing that to
not really how they
collapse.
do it.
Yeah, collapse the ground where this above ground civilization is built. But what will happen is it will fall with a lot of other ground on this Ewal people civilization down below.
Yeah.
So, knowing that's going to happen, they managed to rally the aloof bird art people. He's going to crush a civilization.
The furry bird art people.
Yeah, and they come up and they help. They join forces with the surface people to defeat evil Privarch Chark and save the geode.
But I think, literally, we've got to have... So the brother immediately dies.
Sasuke,
I would say.
Right.
I'd say at this point, maybe even slightly...
Maybe that's the climax. Sasuke saves Malak by killing David Warren.
No, I think it should be the. Personally, I think so. The protagonist has the action here.
Okay, that's
I
fair
think
enough.
basically, right at the start of this moment when, there's an earthquake and some lava pops up and then he appears, on some kind of he appears and they all come in, they rip them apart and he just brutalizes his brother for stealing the geode, and he clusters all the geodes around and going.
Oh, I like that. Yes, gives good motivation to.
Yeah, exactly.
Malik, right?
And then Malik just goes grindhouse on him.
Goes grindhouse on him. Love it.
And maybe even
Maybe
we've got to use his special
I
skill.
think he uses the geode, and he just caves his head in with it.
Even better.
Yeah.
Right. Cracks the geode in half.
Ooh.
And turns it into 2 fists.
Oh my god.
Right. And uses the holy geode to punch this guy to death.
That's amazing. It's so ridiculous, but I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just this massive punch fest with the wrestling. With the wrestler, what the hell was the wrestler being involved?
Yes, and the heretic fighting the other battle
with
priest.
the slingshots.
Yeah.
And of course,
Walvari
with his stave.
Yeah.
And it's a big old fight at the end. Of course, they win in the end.
Of course, yes. And then...
And David Warner's like, no, my evil plans!
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he dies by being bludgeoned with geode fists.
Yes, and it probably starts glowing in some weird radioactive way, his body, and sort of...
Maybe Malik beats him into submission with the geode fist, but finishes him with the magma down the throat punishment that he's done to so many other people, right? Return to the magma. The core welcomes you. The core in your core.
And then, so what's the ending?
I was going to say, what's the denouement? What happens after?
Yeah, so...
Obviously, Malik's got to go... Does he go back down?
Well, I was saying, this big cataclysm has happened that's split open everything, right?
Yeah.
Kind of linking all these places together.
Oh, I like that.
So they kind of create some kind of elevator or...
That's wicked.
Right?
Yeah, I really like
between
that.
those two places. So that's the epilogue or whatever we get, is these civilizations are now much more connected.
And maybe there's it's probably...
And a trade of geodes going up.
And there's a shaft of sunlight coming straight down, almost to the entire
So when
planet.
he returns home with the elixir...
Yeah,
right,
he returns through the shaft of life. Yeah, wicked.
Right, wonderful. That's the end of the story.
We do need a name for the story.
Gosh, we've got
quite
a name.
difficult with this one.
Well, we've got some rocks. We've got geodes. We've got
Tectonics. Underground.
Chrysepi, the land.
The core.
The core.
Close to the core.
But it's kind of
Journey from
escape
the core.
It doesn't sound like that as a movie.
I think if you use the core, it's just going to remind people of that awful movie, The Core.
Okay, right.
Core values.
It's the thickest skin.
That's better. That's not great, I'll admit.
It needs to sound fantastic, unfortunately. The legend of
the Tunnel Farmer.
Okay, well, I like the tales of the tunnel rat.
That's better actually. Yeah, I like Tale, I like Tunnel in there somewhere as well.
I think tunnel's good. Yeah.
Tale of a Tunneler. He doesn't really tunnel though, does he? That's a bit of a misnomer. Tales from the Tunnels.
No, that just sounds shite. We've got the Doomsayer as well. That's a good sort of...
Yeah, glowing, geodes, warmth.
Yeah, and
religion.
battle monks.
Battle priests, please.
Oh, there's a theft involved.
This is a difficult one to name, actually. I think you were good with like the tale of a tunnel something. Tale of a tunnel farmer. Is that too basic though?
Yeah, I think we've got to go a little bit more fantastic, like 300, right?
Yes.
I want to get some of that. Obviously, it can't be 300, but that's where we're aiming, right? Something Grecian, like a Greek myth.
Oh, it's myth like the Odyssey, right?
Yes, something Odyssey would do perfectly.
Yes.
The Odyssey of a tunnel.
Tunnel Odyssey.
Okay, and close.
I like how you said close as if to say that was shit. your mouth said close, but your brain said ooh.
Okay, so Geode's Odyssey? No.
You could use his name. No, Malik's Odyssey.
It's Labyrinth is another good word.
The World Labyrinth.
I actually quite like something like Escape the World Labyrinth.
Don't put escape on the beginning of it.
Escape the World Labyrinth. I like the World Labyrinth.
It's got to be something that gives you some clue about what you're going to experience as a story.
I think I'm happy with the World Labyrinth.
Yeah, the World Labyrinth then.
Okay, so.
Are we shaking hands?
Yeah, of course.
Well done, that was ridiculous.
That was totally ridiculous, and not at all what I expected when we began.
What should we tell the children at home?
We should tell the children at home that we are the Speculation Station podcast. Thanks for coming along.
I'm Will.
I'm Tom.
And we enjoy telling you a story from our object, which started out as this leather-bound book of, mostly blank pages.
Yeah, imagination.
That was what we were talking about today.
Something to consider at this point, guys. We'd be very, very grateful if you subscribed, if you left us a comment, or if you gave us a review on iTunes.
I'd be more than grateful. I'd probably blow you a kiss if you did that.
Yeah, no, you do more than that.
Oh, let's not give them high expectations.
But literally, don't get ideas,
That's, hashtag, I won't say it.
Don't say any hashtags, please.
I was about to say one that would have been a bit controversial. You can probably guess what it would have been.
Sure.
YouTube, website.
Yeah, come along.
Subscribe.
And, next week we'll bring in a new object.
Oh, that'll be me next week and a new story.
Yes, and a new adventure. I hope you've brought an object.
And we'll try and use fewer Ks in our name.
Yes, and maybe it won't be so utterly ridiculous, but... maybe it'll be even more ridiculous.
Theme tune, go! That's not our theme tune.
No, it's the theme tune of the...
the story?
Of the rocks.
Oh, like rock thumping.
The World Labyrinth.
Theme tune.
Speculation Station.